Elder abuse. How exactly is this growing problem defined? Does elder abuse include a breach of trust? How many different types of elder abuse does the law recognize? Can you spot the signs and symptoms of each type of elder abuse? Who tends to be the abuser? What steps can be taken to protect against and even stop elder abuse? How does the law deal with elder abuse? Today, is there an increasing awareness about the warning signs of possible elder abuse? Hello, my name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, and welcome to Your Money, Your Life. In this segment, my guest is Danielle Jesserer, a paralegal and elder abuse advocate. Danielle, welcome to Your Money, Your Life. It's great to have you on the program.
Oh, hi, Ramsey. How are you?
Good. There are many different types of abuse. Can you give us examples of the different types of abuse and what people should be looking for?
Sure. I'll go a little bit into each of the different major types of elder abuse for you. The first one being physical. Now, this is any act that causes physical pain or injury to a senior. This not only covers physical violence such as restraining or hitting, but it can also include overly medicating and or introducing medications that one is not prescribed to in an attempt to sedate or in extreme cases induce death. Sadly, part of that is also sexual abuse, which Ramsey, you'll be familiar with the Ruby McDonough case, yep. In which a nurse's aide at Sudbury Nursing Home had violated one of the patients, but because she suffered from aphasia, which is a commonly suffered verbal disorder after a stroke, and so she was determined that she could not testify in her own case. But sexual abuse within elder care communities, it's also a sad part of physical abuse. There is emotional abuse, which would be inflicting mental pain, anguish, or distress on an elder individual, in which case can include anything from berating, belittling, making threats, manipulating, using intimidating verbiage, threatening mannerisms, constantly criticizing, chronic disapproval. Emotional abuse is often designed to wear down one's self-confidence, self-worth, self-concept, or perception, because if one feels worthless, unloved, unwanted, that they lack value in the world, or they are nothing but a burden, they become much easier for their abuser to subjugate and control, which is the emotional abuser's ultimate goal. Neglect and or abandonment, which is a failure by a caregiver to tend to the basic needs of an elderly individual, i.e. cleanliness, providing food, water, or adequate shelter. And then the latter part of that being to leave an elderly individual under their care to fend for themselves entirely, which does happen. Then there's financial exploitation, which is the taking, misuse, concealment of funds, property, or other assets of a senior for someone else's benefit. Often funds are designated for care of an elderly individual, and they're misappropriated, or their property and assets are liquidated without that person's knowledge or permission. Withholding services or medical care in order to conserve an elder person's financial state is also a common occurrence. Self-neglect is again another common form of abuse in which the elderly individual themselves cease to care for themselves in a manner that begins to threaten his or her safety. This can be as a result of drug addiction, alcohol addiction, mental disability, but it can also be due to depression or just the complete inability to do so. Self-neglect is actually often a side effect of the other forms of abuse. So once one has become a victim of these other forms of abuse, their self-worth is so low that self-neglect becomes a greater risk. And a lot of those same symptoms of neglect and abandonment apply here. Lack of food, failure to care for day-to-day tasks, and things such of that nature. Ramsey, as you know, guardianship abuse is what initially pushed me into the realm of elder abuse victim advocacy when I was brought into the Stubblefield case in Washington State. This individual suffered years of abuse and neglect before passing away due to health complications that could have easily been avoided had he been provided the proper medical care at the onset of illness. Guardianship abuse is one of those rare instances where often all of the types of abuse we've discussed thus far occur to one individual, often referred to as the court's dirty little secret. The lack of properly defined and regulated legislative and judicial processes have allowed corrupt and greedy individuals to prey on elderly victims who are many times still entirely able of caring for themselves.
I'd like to back up for a minute, and I'd just like to add a couple of things to what you've already said. That was, by the way, an excellent presentation that you made. But with regards to emotional abuse, it's not just necessarily berating the elder, but it can also be actually nonverbal communication. It can be the silent treatment. That in and of itself can be some form of elder abuse. As regards self-neglect, I think it's also important to point out that forms of self-neglect also involve alcohol abuse and drug dependency. Those are forms of abuse. You've given us a nice recitation of the various different forms of elder abuse. Danielle, that's a good place for us to stop. Across this country, in every community, on every day, elders are confronted with serious issues that are characterized as elder abuse. Older adults are neglected by their caretakers, family members, and friends. They're financially exploited. They're physically abused, while others still are sexually abused. Each year, hundreds of thousands of older adults face this fate. Many older victims are people who are frail, vulnerable, and cannot help themselves because they depend on others to meet their most basic needs. So what can we do? If you notice changes in a senior's personality or behavior, be concerned and speak up. Bottom line, elder abuse is a serious problem in this country. States are enacting laws against elder abuse with systems for reporting suspected abuse, including mandated reporters. Remember, it is not your role to verify that abuse is occurring, only to alert others of your suspicions. Make sure any such report includes specific details. In closing, I'd like to thank my guest, Danielle Jesserer, elder abuse advocate, for her participation on this program. Danielle, thank you for being on the program.
Thank you, Ramsey.
And as always, thank you to you, our viewers, for watching Your Money, Your Life. My name is Attorney Ramsey Bahrawy, Building Your Trust.